There we go. Sister Amir, if you want to stop sharing your screen. Sister Amira Khan, whenever you're ready, inshallah ta'ala. If you want to introduce yourself and yeah, there we go. Very good.
Yeah, absolutely. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Jazakallah khair for uh coming back for our second day of the leadership intensive. Big shout out to the MAS team for their coordination and facilitation for this entire weekend. The website that they just showed all of us a couple of minutes ago is an amazing, amazing resource. I think, during the community of practices, the discussions that we had yesterday, a couple of questions that you all had was like, hey, how do I talk to like my board members, right? Like I don't really know them. We don't really, like I just met them a couple of days ago, or we just, formed the board, but we don't really know each other. So all of these tools that Matt shared just a few minutes ago, those are amazing ways to build that relationship and that friendship with each other, right? Build that rapport. When you're serving on a team and a board, of course, it's a lot of work that you need to do, but it also all starts from a place of like trust with each other within your team. So these are great ways to build that relationship with each other, to get to know each other, and then eventually be able to share that also with your MSA. So that way you guys can build that community. So thank you so much to Sister Amira for sharing that and the entire MAS team. That's an amazing resource, and definitely one that we would love to share as well. But yeah, I just want to go ahead and transition a little bit towards msaNational. So just a little introduction about myself, and then I'll jump into the organization. My name is Amira. I am the operations director with msaNational. We'll talk a little bit more about what msaNational is and everything, but as operations director, I'm really just here to serve all of you all. Everyone on our team is essentially just a recent alumni of an MSA. We recently graduated within a couple of years ago. So you can really look at our organization, msaNational, as like a mentor or like that big brother, big sister for your MSA. So inshallah, during this presentation, we'll talk a little bit more about what msaNational is, and some of the stuff that we do, our mission and vision. And then if you all have any questions at any time, just feel free to drop it in the chat. And then we'll also have some time at the end, so that way, we can take questions and go from there. But Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So alhamdulillah. So welcome to msaNational. Just a little bit about msaNational. msaNational is also known as the Muslim Students Association of the US and Canada, and it was first established at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign by a group of Muslim students in January of 1963. So that means over 60 years ago, alhamdulillah. So msaNational has been a uniting forum for Muslim students from all different and diverse backgrounds. And we continue to serve Muslim students during their college and university careers by facilitating their efforts to establish, maintain, and develop local MSAs. So really want to focus on that last part that I mentioned, which was establish, maintain, and develop local MSAs. So our why, or our reason for doing all of this, is because we seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we do that by empowering Muslim students, just like you all, with resources aimed at fostering character and leadership development, also known as tarbiyah, campus activism and da'wah, and connecting for a unified vision. This is what everything that we're doing is working towards, right? This is why we're having a session just like this weekend. This entire program was developed for you all, right? Because ultimately we're doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we're doing all of this because we envision a unifying movement, right? A unifying community here in the US and Canada that's rooted in Deen, of all Muslim Students Association, cultivating safe and transformative spaces for all Muslims on campus, and continuing to serve the Ummah beyond graduation. We talked a little bit yesterday. I think it came up in a couple of the sessions with some of the speakers, as well as during some of our community of practices, that what we do right now will affect and impact who we are and what we do later on in the future, right? The work that we're doing in college and university with our MSAs as board members or even MSA members, it's just a stepping stone for the community work that we eventually want to do in the greater Muslim community, right? So that's our vision, is that we are able to capture and work with and build up your leadership skills when you're still a student. So that way, inshallah, when you grow up to be, you know, full-fledged adult and really involved in your Muslim community or other organizations, you're able to like be really strong leaders and serve your community in the best way. So that's basically, in a nutshell, our why. That's our reason for why we want to serve all MSAs across the US and Canada. But now I want to open it over to you guys and ask you to take just a couple of seconds to reflect on what is your why. So if you guys can take a few seconds to kind of think about what is your reason for joining MSA? Like, what made you personally want to join MSA to begin with? And why are you now an MSA officer? Right? I'm not talking about, oh, you were elected, but like you chose and you are here right now this morning seeking leadership development and skills. So ultimately, or, you know, deep down, there's a reason for why you want to do this. So I want to ask you guys, you guys are welcome to, you know, go off of the mic or come off the mic and or use the chat box as well. But I would love to hear from you all. What is your why? What is your reason for wanting to be an MSA leader? Does anyone have anyone want to share some of their thoughts? And there are no right or wrong answers, so please feel free to, you know, just share whatever you're most comfortable with. Uh, I think Sister Marwa, if you want to go ahead.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. So for me, I guess my reason for joining and like staying on was because I wanted to um take building a community seriously, and I kind of understood the value that it actually holds. I didn't really have Muslims in my high school, so like coming into college, that's when I saw Muslim students and everything. So I kind of wanted to maintain that culture and like take it a step further.
Mhm. Awesome. No, I love that, right? You wanted to kind of be in that place where you could give back to something that you saw, right? No, thank you so much for sharing that. I love it. I'm gonna just read a couple of the comments in the chat. Brother Tahir said, I like the community building aspect of it. I enjoy generating new ideas to create engagement. And that's an amazing, amazing reason for why you should do that, right? Brother Dia said, pleasing Allah. That's probably the best reason why any of us can do anything, right? Any community work, and especially within our MSA spaces. Sister Sana said, I chose to be part of MSA to connect with other Muslim brothers and sisters, as well as give back to my community, right? So subhanAllah, these are all such beautiful and incredible reasons, right? These are again beautiful reasons for why you're doing all of this. And so I know we just spent a couple of seconds talking about this, but I hope that as we progress throughout the year, right, when you guys are going through your ups and downs, always remember to go back to your why. Remember to go back to, why am I doing this, right? Why am I willingly, you know, serving my community? Why am I going through these ups and downs for my communities? Why am I, you know, planning out the MSA year when I could be studying and doing my homework, right? Always go back to your why, that intention and that niyyah, because it'll be what pushes you and propels you and motivates you to want to better your community and serve your community to the best of your capacity. Brother Dia also mentioned, my Muslim community is not active and I wanted to fix it. And that is an incredible thing to do, right? There's that saying, you know, be the change you wish to see in the world. And that also starts with MSA, right? Our Muslim community is our world, right? That's the part of the community, the environment that we are a part of. So we can and we should do whatever we can in our capacity to be involved and make a positive change. So that way we're serving our community, and that way we're ultimately pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But yeah, those were some amazing reflections. If you guys have some more, just feel free to put them, you know, continue sharing that in the chat. But I appreciate everyone for sharing, you know, some of their thoughts behind that. We'll go ahead and continue. So we talked about our why. And I want to shift a little bit from that and talk about the role or the importance of y'all's MSAs, right? So on msaNational, right, we serve the greater Muslim community, right? So we serve all MSAs in high school and college, as well as grad schools in the US and Canada. So I think I shared this fun fact with a couple of folks in one of our community practices yesterday, but there are over 600 MSAs, both in the US and Canada, of high school and colleges, right? So 600, that's a lot of clubs, that's a lot of communities, but that's something that at MSA National we focus on. For you all, what's most important is the role in developing your local MSAs. So on a national level, we want to create these safe and transformative spaces. And for you all, we hope that you kind of understand that vision, right? Which is something that it seems like you guys are also resonating with, given your responses in the chat. But the role of the local MSAs really is to create that safe and transformative space for Muslim students in your own community to thrive and succeed on campus while also growing their deen, right? And I think a lot of us can agree, because why do we have Jummah on campus? Why do we have Fasathon? Why do we have, I don't know, monthly meetings for our MSAs? We do all of this so that way we can build a more active and involved community, a more active and involved Muslim community, and a space for all of us to get to know each other, to, you know, be friends with each other, to work towards that bigger vision and to make an impact, right? So as MSA officers for you all, keep that in also in your head, that don't worry too much about, oh, I need to, you know, do this with this state, and I need to connect with MSAs in this community and this community, and get all of our MSAs together. Like, don't worry about some of the bigger things like that. You should primarily focus on developing your community at your home, right? At your community first, at your own campus first and foremost. Because if you can develop and engage the people in your own school, get them really excited and active and wanting to be a part of the MSA, and create that safe space, then it'll reflect and influence the other spaces around you, right? So really focus on the work that you're doing on a local level, and inshallah, everything else will kind of like fall into place after that. So I want to talk a little bit about why I think it's important for you all to join our community. And when I say join our community, I don't mean, become an officer for MSA National, or, give us like $1,000 or anything like that. It's nothing like that at all. But just as you guys have, or a lot of MSAs, right? Not every MSA, but a lot of MSAs have some sort of like registration form or registration fee or something like that for their members. Basically, they do that so that way they know, hey, okay, we have like 50 active members, 50 people are showing up to our events, so on and so forth. Those people, or those MSA members, are joining your community. And it's the same thing that we are trying to do as well, right? We want you all to join our community, to join our network, to get involved with the work that we're doing, so that way you can better your MSA as well. And so some of joining our community means affiliating with MSA National. Affiliation just means that you are registering your MSA with us, so that way we can share all of our resources, our funding, any and all cool opportunities that come our way. We share it and send it to you guys first and foremost. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, there are over 600 MSAs, right? And that's a really big number. But we prioritize the MSAs that affiliate and register with us, because we know that the things and the programming and the resources that we have are things that you all really want as well, right? So I'll give you guys, I'll share it in the next couple of slides, but there are a couple of different services and programs that we have that are exclusive and only for MSAs that are affiliated with us. And why do we do that? We do that because we know that if you are affiliated with us, that means you are interested in the work that we are doing, and we want to prioritize and make sure we're giving you all as much attention as possible, right? We can help everyone, inshallah, if Allah allows us to be able to do something like that. But if you let us know that, hey, we're interested in the work that MSA National is doing, then we will make sure you guys are at the top of our list whenever we have a new program that comes out. Whenever there's a funding opportunity, right? And maybe your MSA needs some funds to have food at the next general body meeting, we'd be happy to be able to support that and, provide that for you all as well. So the reason or the benefit of affiliating your local MSA with MSA National is because it alleviates the burden for you all as MSA leaders to develop resources, promote leadership, and coordinate high quality MSA programming in isolation. So this kind of goes back to what I said in the very, very beginning about MSA National kind of being like that big brother or big sister for you all. our organization has been around for over 60-something years. We're one of the oldest Muslim organizations in the entire like continent, right? But the reason we're able to do that is because we have systems of sustainability where one board is able to share information to the next board, is able to share information to the next board, and so on and so forth. So we have that idea of like sharing things from the next generation onwards. And so when you all affiliate with us, what helps is that, you know, you don't have to worry about your MSA necessarily being sustainable, right? How many of us come from MSAs where one year you guys are super active, and then towards the end of the semester, the MSA officers graduate, and then the next year the MSA like dies down, right? Because there's no one to take on the wheels. So when you affiliate with us, you're actually helping to promote the sustainability of your MSA. So that way, 10 years down the line, your MSA doesn't have to go through another like rebirth where they have to start from scratch, where they have to try and come up with ideas for different events or figure out how to secure funding or develop budgets or anything like that. You can always tap into us as a resource, and we will help and mentor you all through developing different events, you know, figuring out how to onboard new MSA officers, maybe coming up with like an agenda for your you know, meetings, all of those other things, right? You have one-on-one assistance and help directly from our team. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of our offerings or some of the services that we have for you all, both as MSA leaders, MSA boards, as well as just Muslim students, you know, in general. So our programming and all of our services revolve around the idea that we want to nurture the well-being of the Muslim community on campus by developing Muslim student leaders. So although we want to serve all Muslim students, our priority is helping and developing Muslim student leaders just like you all, right? We believe that if we are able to help and develop you all as student leaders, then you guys can have that impact and make a positive influence and impact in your own Muslim community on campus, right? If an MSA has really strong MSA, you know, officers and an MSA board, then inshallah the MSA itself will also be really strong and really engaged, right? It's kind of like that trickle down effect. And so here are just some, not all, these are just some of our current offerings that we have with msaNational. I'm going to go through this. You guys will also have access to this as well. But alhamdulillah, we do a lot, right? And again, we do things for MSA boards and MSAs as well as for just like your regular Muslim students. Our priority again is 2 MSA boards, but of course, you know, if we have other things going on as well, we'll be happy to share that with all Muslim students. So I'm going to go through some of these. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to like drop it in the chat or, you know, unmute yourself and share. This is not an exhaustive list. So what that means is every single day we wake up wanting to, you know, develop more resources, develop more programs and events just for you all. So these are just some of the current things that we have going on right now. But subhanAllah, we have an entire, you know, plan with so many different bullet points of things that we're working on as well, right? And every time that we hear from different MSAs, just like you all saying like, hey, you know, my MSA really needs this thing, we add it onto our list so that way we try and get it done as quickly as possible and to be able to develop that for you all, you know, as soon as we can. But some of the services and programs and offerings that we have include things like different guides for being able to facilitate different things on campus. So this could be things like a guide for starting an MSA on campus, right? Maybe you're the first person who is creating the MSA on campus, or maybe your MSA has been inactive for like the last like 3 years and you're wanting to restart it. We have a guide for that. We also have a guide for being able to accommodate and request prayer spaces on campus, right? We're able to provide letters of support for that. So that way your student government or your campus administration knows that, hey, msaNational is supporting your local MSA for wanting to get a prayer space on campus. And we've done this countless times, right? We have guides for how do you host Fastathon. We have guides for onboarding and offboarding your MSA officers, right? So that way you guys can facilitate that or develop that relationship with each other. We also have guides for how do you get halal food on campus, right? And we have very active and strong partners who can help us help you all to get and reach all of these goals, right? So for msaNational, you know, with halal food on campus, we have a very strong relationship with an organization called Ifanka that actually works with other campuses so that way they can get halal food on your campus. right? So all of these things are, you could do it by yourself for sure. But if you go through MSA National, you have a whole team there to support you, to help you. And oftentimes it's a lot easier when you go through us because we have these very strong relationships with our organizations, just like, MAS, like the Muslim American Society, right? In addition to all of those guides and toolkits and plans, we also have different regional events, trainings, and seminars for MSA boards. We have different funding opportunities for events if your MSA is having it. There are a couple of criteria for some of these things, but inshallah, I'll share. Well, I'll be happy to talk about that, one-on-one a little bit more. We also have different networking and learning opportunities from other MSAs. So just like right now, during our community of practices, sometimes like some of us will share what our MSA does, what has worked and what doesn't work. We also do that with other MSAs across the US and Canada, right? So sometimes we'll set up like monthly calls so that way people can jump on and share some of the challenges or some of the successes that their MSA is going through. So that way you all can hear from each other, right? And then we also just have blueprints and tools for advocacy. So for example, when the encampments first started in the last semester, a lot of MSAs weren't sure how to go about navigating that, right? They were saying like, hey, this cause is very close to us, right? We are very, we support the Palestinian cause, but we're scared about our MSA getting pushed back. So we were able to help out a lot of MSAs navigate what those obstacles look like on campus. We were able to provide funding for some MSAs if they wanted to have like a dawah table on campus, and all of those other ways, right? But the only way we're able to support you all is if you let us know what it is that you need support in. So those are just some of the offerings that we have for MSA boards in particular. Some of the other things that we have are geared towards Muslim students. So hopefully, these are people who are involved in your MSA as well. But things like student scholarships, we have a very big scholarship program that we recently started a couple of years ago. And every year we provide 5 $1,000 scholarships to Muslim students. There's an application process just like other scholarships as well, but that's just one of the opportunities or ways that Muslim students can benefit directly from MSA National. We also have discounts for different Islamic conferences and conventions that happens thanks to our amazing partners, right? We recently had a couple of different like leadership sessions at ICNA Mass, which was in Baltimore, the Mass Convention, which was in Chicago, Lighthouse, which inshallah will be next month in LA and Orlando in partnership with the Muslim American Society. So the other folks here on the team as well. And so whenever these big like national Islamic conferences or conventions or meetings happen, sometimes, it's pretty expensive, especially if you're college students, right? Like who's going to pay $100 for a ticket? So oftentimes we have different discounts so that way you guys can get like a student discount and still be able to attend those events. So that way you can benefit from those gatherings and that way you can connect with other people. And last but not least, we have a lot of professional development opportunities. So sometimes we'll have different, virtual networking events, or we'll have different folks for like professionals in different career fields will, go on our podcast and we'll share some of their experiences as well. So we have a lot of things going on with MSA National, alhamdulillah. So all of those offerings are specifically and exclusive for MSAs that affiliate or register their MSA with us. Registration is completely free. We haven't publicly like gone live with it for this semester, so you all on this call actually have super early access to it before we go live next week. So all you have to do is go to our website, msanational.org/join. Registration or affiliation is free. All you have to do is provide some information about your MSA so that way we can better understand like who is on your team, how big or small is your MSA, what are some of the obstacles or successes that your MSA like has. And then there's an optional fee if you want to pay some money so that way we can continue to do our work. But if not, then that's totally fine as well. And then after you affiliate or register with us, we follow up with you all, check in, see how you're doing, and ask you guys a couple of questions. And then you'll also have access to our platform, which we will be going live with in a couple of weeks, inshallah. And basically this platform, similar to what Sister Amira shared a couple of minutes ago before this presentation with the mass platform that has all the different games and activities. We will also have a platform so that way you guys will, if you want to fill out a form so that way your MSA can receive funding, it'll be on that platform, on that website. If you want to, ask questions or, you need someone to review your agenda before you guys have your first meeting, there will be a space on the platform to be able to do that as well. So it's an environment and it's a community that you'll be able to join once your MSA affiliates or even registers with us. So that's pretty much all I wanted to share regarding msaNational. I know I kind of went through this a little bit quickly, so I'm happy to take any questions, but I just want to leave you all with this one last sentence, right? Sometimes people ask us, and this is a very good question to ask. Sometimes people will ask us, well, hey, my MSA is already good to go, right? Our MSA is very strong. We have all of these things that we do on campus. Our MSA officers are, great leaders. We have all of the resources. We have a prayer room. We have halal space on campus. So I don't really see, or I don't really understand why I need to affiliate or why I should register with msaNational. And what we'll say is, that's awesome. That's great. But you will run faster alone, but we will run further together. And this is also a quote that Brother Ahmed actually shared with me a couple of days ago. And the reason for sharing this is because we want you guys to understand that what your MSA does is really, really great stuff. But we want to elevate that and take it so that way everyone, all of the MSAs in North America, all of the MSAs in the US and Canada, both high school and college MSAs, can see the work that you guys are doing and also replicate the work that you all are doing, right? Your MSA got to this really amazing and great place only because other people and other MSA officers and generations before you put in the work to get your MSA there. And so we want to make sure that you guys are sustainable, that your MSA, 60 years down the line will still be as amazing and great as you want it to be. But we also want to uplift and elevate other MSAs who maybe aren't as strong as they want to be, right? Maybe they're just starting out. Maybe they're just coming off of a really, really tough couple of years, right? We saw that once, people started returning back from like the COVID precautions and everything, a lot of MSAs were really struggling to get things off the ground, right? They used to have maybe 100 people before COVID started, and then once COVID ended or classes went back to campus, there was only like 5 Muslims going to the MSA meetings, right? So again, you will run faster alone, but we will run faster together. And we hope that you all, the work that you're doing, you all understand that it's is a part of the greater Muslim movement here in the US and Canada, and it's all connected to each other, right? If we can showcase the work that we're doing is unified, right? We're able to have a unified Muslim student voice. We're able to represent each other in the best of ways, and we're able to create a stronger Muslim community and a stronger ummah. And at the end of the day, I think that's pretty much all everyone wants, right? We want to have a strong ummah, and we want to do everything to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Where we're uplifting and elevating the work that we're all doing. But that is pretty much all I wanted to share regarding msaNational. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. Or if you want to unmute yourself, please feel free to do that right now. If you want to ask or share anything right now.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
That MSA leadership program only in college campus, or it can be at neighborhood or at school also, where it works mostly?
Yes, so for us with msaNational, we focus on high school and college or university MSAs. But there are other organizations, just like the Muslim American Society, so MAS, who do similar things in developing their Muslim community, but in like outside of the school setting. So maybe Brother Ahmed or Sister Amira, if you guys want to share a little bit about the work that MAS does as well. We are specific for students for college and high school settings, but like I mentioned, there are other organizations that are open to, neighborhoods, different cities, all of those other things.
That second question is when you choose a MSA leader at campus, what is important? Like should one know Arabic or Quran, or anybody can be?
Yeah, so every MSA looks different, every MSA boards, but something that we recommend is um one that they have a uh that they are Muslim, right? Because they are serving the Muslim community. But two is not necessarily that they need to know Arabic forwards and backwards, or they need to be like a hafiz of the Quran. Those are amazing things, right? Like we all want to excel and go towards that. But realistically, not everyone is there yet. So some of the things that we recommend for people who are joining their MSA boards is to be consistent with the good deeds that you're doing as a Muslim. So obviously, praying as much as you can, trying to pray all 5 prayers on time, but also quite honestly, just being someone who is involved in the Muslim community, right? And that wants to serve the Muslim community. And the reason I want to specify that is because you can be the smartest person in the room, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be the best MSA or the best leader for your Muslim community, because you have to have that servant leadership mindset. You have to know in your heart, like deep down, that you really want to serve the community, that you are willing to, wake up in the mornings at 8 a.m., just like we did today, to, go through this leadership training, right? You have to have that dedication and that passion. So, no, you don't need to necessarily know Arabic fluently. There are plenty of MSA officers who don't, such as myself. Like I don't know Arabic fluently. But as long as you are, a Muslim, a practicing Muslim, one who cares about the Muslim community, then I think that's good, inshallah.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Okay, does anyone else have any questions, comments, or concerns? I will provide, I know most of you guys already have my contact information, but I'll share my information in the chat, so that way, if you have any questions, just feel free to, shoot me an email, call me, text me, whatever works best with you. Alhamdulillah, we have a great team at MSA National. I know it's just me here right now, but we have a really great team of people from very diverse backgrounds who more than likely will be able to help you in whatever it is that you need. So if you need help coming up with ideas for your meeting, for different events that you want to have on campus, if you want to just, get some feedback on some of the work that you're doing, we are more than happy to help you guys. And our purpose is ultimately just to serve you all for the sake of Allah. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us at any time. And I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Jazakumullah khairan, Sister Amira. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and protect you, inshallah ta'ala.